telling somebody what it is you do, how you do it, or how you live, or showing them through example, through actually doing it, practicing what you preach. That's what we're talking about today, Everyday KT 272. So, for a very, very long time, I have been talking about getting out there, being a badass, kicking ass, and taking action, doing stuff, not talking about it, actually taking action, being a badass, not saying you're awesome. So today I actually had an opportunity to do so. It was unfortunate, but nonetheless. So I'm driving home. I'd left work. I'd been out on the road for a quarter of a mile, and I was the second person on scene of a collision on the road. First person who was there was tending to the people in the accident. There were no life-threatening injuries, nobody bleeding or gushing blood or anything. So first thing I do, park my truck, and I started directing traffic, because more often than not, additional injuries happen during crashes from people driving and not paying attention when they go around corners. And where this crash was right after a corner. So there were people flying around, and took action and sat there and directed traffic for 20 minutes or so. Or no, not that long. It felt like 20 minutes, because I'm sitting there and these people coming at me at 60 miles an hour, and I'm like, hey, slow down, stop. And, I'm sitting there hoping to myself, I'm like, if they can't see 6'3" guy in a kilt in the middle of a road, then they're blind and they don't need a license. So I was out there, and, the first person made sure the people were okay enough, called 911. A few minutes later, the police started showing up. First person, obviously, tended to the victims. Second person, back to the victims. Third person showed up, as a friend of mine, who's on the police force, and took over my spot. So, Dave, yeah, actually no shoes at all. It's hot out here, and if I can go barefoot, I will. So, taking action. The police finally showed up. Everybody showed up. Ambulances, fire trucks, all of that showed up. And I'm like, okay, good. I have 15 minutes to do the 17-minute drive to my house to make sure that I'm home when the kids get off the bus. So I did. I made it. I mean, it was one of those Evel Knievel, squeal into my driveway, park the car, and the bus rolls up the road. But I made it home. Safe, one piece, everything was wonderful. So that is a perfect example of practicing what you preach, living and doing instead of talking. Yes, I love talking. I love being in front of people, talking, telling people about how they can be happier with themselves, be more effective at what they do in business, and how to live a kilted life more easily and more enjoyably. But it is far more effective to show how to do these things, how to be a badass. I mean, I was a little taken aback by the fact that I was there directing traffic. There was a woman there who was tending to the people, calming them down, trying to get them to relax because they'd just been in a wreck. Everybody else is just like, what? Choom, 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 flying through. I'm sitting there waving them down, trying to like, hey, listen, go that way, go through the business parking lot, don't drive through the traffic. And they're just like, da-da-da, what's going on? Oh, I can't drive. I got to get off the phone, stop putting on my makeup, stop whatever else they were doing, stop texting and playing whatever stupid game on their phone while they're driving, and actually pay attention for once. It was, nobody else stopped. Nobody that I saw. I mean, there may have been one or two other cars out of the 50 or 80 or so that went by while I was standing there. No one stopped. Not one that I could tell, besides the lady who stopped before me right behind the crash and myself. I didn't see any other people that were not wearing a uniform stopped. So I was a little disheartened to hear that, but at the same time, it reinforced that you gotta kind of have your shit together to be able to do something like that, to show up and say, oh crap, there's a problem. Okay, I'm safe, yes, fix the problem. jump in, take action, and make it happen. So when you're in these situations, and it does not have to be some kind of crash, wreck, or anything. It could be at school if you're a student, could be at the workplace, it could be with relationships, it could be any number of these things. If you take the time and make the effort to show, again, to show what it is that you're capable of, instead of saying it, people are going to pay attention. They're going to see that you can be a badass. They can see that you know how to get things done. It could be in a very narrow scope, could be very broad. Doesn't matter. People see that you can do that. Yeah, Josh, for those of you who are not watching this live, Josh was saying he doesn't even answer the phone when he's driving. And, you know, I try not to. I get phone calls all the time. If it's my parents, that's one thing because they call, you know, when they need something sometimes. Or they're just checking in because I haven't spoken to them in a while. But other than that, I tend not to pick up the phone when I'm driving because, you know, that whole kind of drive thing. So, showing. Show. People can talk about how awesome they are and how amazing they are and all the cool things that they do until they're blue in the face. They're called writers, authors, and comedians. Badasses are people who do. They're called first responders. They're called military folks. They're called the regular average Joe who does all kinds of awesome things for their community, their church, their scout groups, their kids groups, their whatever. They're helping lead an AA group. Doesn't matter. Those are the badasses because they're not sitting there shouting from the top, from on high, hey, look at me, I'm doing amazing things. They're doing it. You know, so if you're one of those people who just gets it done, shows how important it is to take action and to do something when it needs to get done, I would like to thank you for your efforts. I'm sure you don't hear that very often. Most likely not at all, especially if you're actively in some kind of first responder position. Most folks don't say thank you. They like, I'm in the hospital, whatever, or I'm going to jail. Something like that. There's very little gratitude. And granted, the gratitude that does come is immense, but those are mostly thankless positions. So thank you. And for everybody else who is just sitting there talking the talk, get your shoes on. Start walking. There's a lot of people that could use the action, use the help, use the contribution of your efforts, your intelligence, your abilities, and your skills to help make their lives better. There's a lot of people. If everybody stopped talking, started doing, things might be a little different, A lot less lip action, a lot more elbow grease. A lot of stuff happens. A lot of people's lives get affected really, really fast. So somebody throw out a volume of Kiltology, and we'll wrap this up. Volume 1, Volume 2, or 1 to 507, whichever. Well, like I said, show that you're a badass. And it doesn't have to be. We've got 80-year-old grandmothers who are badasses. Why? Because they're at home helping to raise their kids, their grandkids, because their child is putting himself through school again and trying to improve themselves. So the grandmother's helping out, saying, "Hey, I'll take care of your kids. You're trying to be a badass. You're going back to school. Make it happen." Yeah, Josh, you don't see number one. Okay, Josh hits it, Volume 1. Volume 1 because I think Volume 1 was mostly written on the back of napkins at a bar, and some of them are weird. So, doing versus telling. Kiltology number 117. These didn't have titles. Your mind is your own worst enemy. To defeat this most dastardly of foes, don your kilt, find some kilties, and cause a scene just by showing up at your favorite social place. The mind just can't handle such nonsensical loneliness. So what does that mean? It's weird. Like I said, I was probably that reads about 3 fingers of scotch deep. So how does that apply to today? It's simple. Less talking, more doing. Mind's your own worst enemy. And when you're alone and you got nothing going on, you're going to come up with a reason for things to suck. Call a friend. Go do something. If you got no friends local, call somebody who isn't local and just chat with them, bullshit on the phone for a half an hour. Figure out what the hell they're doing. Call Hawaii. Call Alaska. Call Nova Scotia. Call Scotland. Who knows? Someplace. Call Guam. Find a friend. Somebody who's also not doing something. Get on the phone. Call them. Skype. Use some other kind of web chat thing. Have human interaction. That way, you're not going to get sucked into that black hole that is stewing in your own brain. Because everybody does it. I know I do at times when I think things are kind of crappy. Sitting here, there's nobody around, nobody to talk to. I'm like, screw this. I fire up Facebook and I'm like, okay, who's on chat? Zoom. Find somebody who does something close to anything that I know that's going on, or I have something cool going on. I'm like, listen, hey, check this out. This is cool. Doing, not talking. Having those conversations is doing, because it's pulling yourself out of that hole. Pulling yourself up by your kilt straps, saying, screw it, I'm not going to endure this suck. I'm going to actually find something fun to do. Even if it's bullshitting with a friend that I haven't talked to in 6 weeks because that person lives on the other end of the world. Works. Try it sometime. It's pretty awesome. And with that, I'll let you go. The end of a long Monday. I'm still sore as hell from the canoe. We figured out we did 19 miles on canoes over the past 2 days. Long ass ride. So I'll let you guys go. I'm probably going to go chill, go to bed soon. And I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully I can find some more pictures like the one I posted up this morning over on my Instagram and on the Facebook page, and from the canoe trip, that I can throw something halfway witty or intelligent on. Hope you guys enjoy it. See you tomorrow. Be strong. Put a kilt on.